Anyway, hello. So let's talk about um, Aussie Slang Part Two and have a more serious version of it. So there are some songs that were created by people from Australia that are kind of iconic or famous. And musicians like John Williamson and Rolf Harris, Kevin Bloody Wilson, people like that um, come to whatever passes as mine. So, in saying that, Kevin Bloody Wilson and John Williamson turned out to be there's nothing wrong with them. And amazingly, Rodney Rude turned out to be just rude. The thing is that Rodney Reed and Kevin Bloody Wilson weren't we had adults as their target audience. So we need to have a talk about the Australian media's support of things they probably shouldn't support after the fact. So the absence of cancel culture in certain cases, although where cancel culture would make sense, and the presence of it in others. So when Fat Cat and Humphrey Bear had a couple of dodgy ones, Fat Cat and Humphrey Bear got taken off the air, much to people's chagrin because they thought the rest of it was pretty cool. And, to be fair, it probably was. Because John Williamson and Rodney Rude and Kevin Bloody Wilson type of thing got their target audiences correct and have not committed a crime, there's some kind of issue there with Rolf Harris. Okay, so for those of you overseas who are not familiar with Rolf Harris, he's got some famous songs like Six White Boomers and Jake the Peg. Six White Boomers was pretty cool because people thought that was a bit more relatable than Reindeer and Snow, so there was something to that. And Jake the Peg was kind of cheap, but made a sort of like it was one of those things where it would go over the heads of the kids, but the adults would have a different opinion of it. Similar to Farquhar's issue with size in Shrek. So Jake the Peg, Diddle 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 Dum, has an extra leg. Okay. That's not meant to imply something else to the non-adult audience and doesn't. And the adults were a bit uncomfortable with that, probably when they saw that, and thought, well, this is one of those jokes that go over the head of the kids and are funny for the adults. Okay, then. And let it go. And then some time ago, Rolf Harris got convicted and put in prison in the United Kingdom for showing children his extra leg, or something very similar. And that song took on a rather dark meaning. And so Rolf Harris died a couple of years ago, and no one misses him. The issue is just on the subject of media. There appears to be a reluctance to discuss. To sort of like to. There's a bit of a dichotomy going, like not dichotomy, hypocrisy almost, because when things went bad with Humphrey Bear and Fat Cat, they did cancel that. They haven't taken Jake the Peg off of ABC Kids and things like they just noticed that. And even though there have been mainstream channels, maybe probably 10 News or something like that, that discussed the Rolf Harris issue. And so when that happened, They should have started taking down Jake the Peg from that particular their particular media libraries for the sake of consistency. The other issue too is it was really strange to see after the Royal Commission that Tony Abbott um, spoke of Cardinal George Pell as though he, in a glowing light, as though he was a saint, when in actuality he was shown to have covered up massively a big problem in Ballarat, and so this sort of double standard as it applies to certain situations is becoming a bit strange. It's difficult to ascertain why some works are taken down and others are left up. Why they haven't done that? They should do that. That song cannot be seen in the innocent light it once was. As disappointing as that is, so please do that.